So first of all, I would like to ask, is there anybody that can give me an idea of what we mean by self-discovery? You can drop your comments in the chat room. When we talk about self-discovery, what are we talking about? The act of knowing who you really are. Absolutely. Very, very important. So my second question, why do we need to know? Why? Okay, Chinwendu says is the art of knowing who you are. Beauty says is the act of developing yourself. So my next question is why? Why do I need to know who you are? Why can't I just live life anyhow? Why do I need it? To know your strengths and weaknesses. Fantastic. Thank you, Tolua Lokpe. Chinwendu says to fulfill purpose. Absolutely. We need to know so as to fulfill purpose. I like that. Okay, Chiamaka says, so I can work more on it. Absolutely. Very, very key, especially for us as young ladies. Okay? We need to know. It's the foundation of anything that we do. Now, this is a picture that I always like to show when I teach on the subject of self-discovery. Now, who can tell us what is happening here? He's looking for himself. Exactly, he's looking for himself. That means, you know, it's so funny. I like that response. At the bottom of the screen, it says, Phil is at 50, is still trying to find himself. Is that not sad? I turned 50 a couple of years ago. And imagine if at my age or before I turned 50 or when I turned 50, I was still at that point of trying to find out who exactly I am as a person. And that's why I'm very excited for every one of you, you know, under the sound of my voice this afternoon or this morning, based on where you're joining us from. Remember, the theme of this session, of this training is my 30-year-old self, a look at my 30-year-old self. So irrespective of your age, maybe you are still a teenager, you probably still have another 10, 15 years to go. Even if you're in your 20s, you still have a couple of years to go, okay? So we're saying this is your now, okay? The pretty girl on the left-hand side, depending on how your device, it is on your device, and we say transitioning to become the mature woman in her 30s. What should go on between these two pictures? Something needs to happen between these two pictures. So the first question I want to ask you, what do you see about your future? Where do you see yourself? In either, based on your age at the moment, either 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 12 years' time, what do you see? What do you see? Very important. I came across this quote that I find very interesting by Sean Patrick Flannery. He said, do something today that your future self will thank you for. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. We've heard of instances of people, you know, that have gone on to become famous. Okay, in our own definition, we'll say successful. They've gone on to achieve things. And then somebody somewhere, especially in these days of social media, will just go to the past of that person and pick up something, maybe a picture, and blast it on social media to embarrass that person. I remember many, many years ago, maybe some of the older, I think I saw two of our mommies already on this here with us. There was a lady that was said, you know, she was acclaimed as the very first Black American Miss, Black Miss America. I don't want to mention her name. And, you know, the whole world celebrated, for the very first time, a Black woman being, you know, crowned as Miss America, winning the beauty contest. Guess what? Not long after, somebody fished out, we didn't even have social media at that time, you know, but somebody fished out a picture of this lady where she had posed nude for a pornographic magazine, probably the Playboy or something. And of course, because of the nature of her assignment as a beauty queen, they had to derobe her. They took away the crown from her and gave it to the person that came second. Is that not, it was quite an embarrassment for her. So for you, please bear this in mind. If this is one thing you can take away from this session, he says, do something today that your future self will thank you for. In essence, the decisions you make today, the choices you make today, they are like seeds that you are sowing that you will reap in the future. You see some girls messing up themselves, one boy after the other, sleeping around, and then, without caring about what the future will say. Some have messed up the beginning of their lives, and then when they now get to the future, they have nothing. I mean, it's already messed up. Okay, another quote that I came about. Robert Kiyosaki is the author of this award-winning book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, part of what we always encourage our participants to do is to be readers. So I want to encourage you, pick up a book and begin to read. There are loads of life-transforming, inspirational and motivational books out there. We'll share some topics, some titles with you on the WhatsApp platform so that you can pick up. One of the books is this book by the title Rich Dad, Poor Dad, talking about personal finance. And the man said here, your future is created by what you do today, not what you do tomorrow. So very, very good. So that is the essence of why we're here for the next 5 days. We want to take you through series of teachings, series of messages, series of thoughts that will help you position yourself properly for a glorious future. Remember, today is the seed for your tomorrow. Tomorrow is the harvest of today. Bear that in mind. Okay, so let's go back. Let's to what we want to look at on the subject of self-discovery. Miles Monroe of blessed memory said this, give us this very powerful quote. He said, the greatest discovery in life is self-discovery. Until you find yourself, you will always be someone else. Be yourself, especially as women, as young ladies. There's always that temptation to want to look like someone, to want to have the same color, complexion as someone, to be as tall as someone, to be as short as someone, to be slim like someone. In fact, many times it's the people on the screen, Hollywood, Nollywood, Bollywood, that we pattern our lives after. We want to look like them. We want to sound like them. We want people to perceive us like them without realizing that these are people that also have challenges in their own lives. So, but when you know who you are, what happens? Okay, I have some definitions here on self-discovery. It's basically the act or process of achieving self-knowledge, learning about yourself, who you are, having insight so that you can discover your God-given purpose and assignment. The truth is, everyone has an assignment. Everyone has a purpose. You are not a mistake, neither are you an accident. There's a reason why God created you. Whether or not you're a Christian, although we are a faith-based NGO, but this message would also apply to you, even if you are not a Christian, okay? But then, I believe that whatever it is, most of us believe that there's God. Okay, so the power of discovery, when you know who you are, you discover, you are just starting to live life. That's the truth. I did not encounter this until in my late 30s, almost 40. True success is discovering what you were created for and to be doing it. Discovery of purpose is the foundation of a happy and a fulfilled life. Guess what? When you know who you are, it frees you of envy, jealous, strife, and bitterness. Okay? When you know who you are, you will not be jealous or envious of somebody else. Maybe you have a colleague who speaks better English, who looks finer, who has longer hair. Those things that really affect us as women, who maybe, seems to be the love of everybody. People just like her or whatever. or there are certain things that you kind of you're a bit envious of in other people. The moment you know who you are, it frees you. One other key point, and Dr. Ayoade is going to talk about that later on, it frees you of low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. Self-esteem is important because it influences the decisions and choices of people. It serves as a motivational function, okay, making it more or less likely that people will take care of themselves and explore their full potential. When you have a positive self-esteem, people with high self-esteem are also motivated to take care of themselves because the way you see yourself, you see yourself in a positive light. And then they strive towards the fulfillment of personal goals and aspirations. Now, these are some facts I came across about self-esteem and women or girls. Of course, you know that every woman used to be a young girl. Every young girl will be a woman one day. So we're all connected. He says 7 in 10 girls believe that they are not good enough. They don't measure up in some ways, including their looks. I'm not fine enough. I'm too fat. I should be lighter. I should have a lighter skin. I'm too dark. Performance in school and relationships also affect. Maybe there are friends that it seems the boys gravitate towards more, and you feel like, why the boy is not looking at me? Why is it that my friend, they're always running after? Why am I so tall? Why am I so short? I had that issue while I was growing up because I'm quite tall. I'm like about 6, maybe 5'11". And so I used to be tall and slim and skinny. And I used to feel, my goodness. And then I had some of my friends that were well-rounded, everything. But today, when I look at myself in the mirror, it amazes me. Okay? So a girl's self-esteem is more strongly related to how she views her body shape, body weight, than how she actually weighs. So some actually are already crucifying themselves. Now, the solution to low self-esteem is to get over yourself and get a higher purpose. That is why. So these are some pictures I came across that I believe sells the message. Now, I want to throw it open. Who has ever felt like this before? Please, let's have feedback. Maybe you see two people laughing and say, they are talking about me. Please, let's be real. Let's be real. You can drop your comment. I felt like that before because, like I said, growing up, I was very tall, always the tallest in my class, tallest in the school. And then when I'm walking around and and I was quite slim. And then when I see 2 people talking or laughing, I say, maybe they are laughing at me. They feel I'm too tall. They feel I'm skinny. They feel like, who has felt like this before? Please, let's keep the comments coming. Let's keep the comments coming. Okay, I can see a comment. Thank you. That is from Ayoade. Yes, Ayoade. She's going to share her story. I hope you said, absolutely. I felt like that before because I was very slim when I was. Thank you very much, Deborah. Ulasi. Oh, she said, exactly. Thank you for all the comments. I can see all your comments. Yes, those are issues we deal with. Okay. Olufemi, Joseph also said, I have. Tolu Alope said, I have. Yes, I have many people comment on my height saying I'm too tall for a girl. Wait until you listen to Dr. Ayoade. Okay, so for some, it might be weight. You might say she's too fat. How can you be this fat? Because the truth is there are some, teenagers that they build up fat, baby fat. And then later on, as they mature, the fat drops off. Okay, so for some, it might be the weight, it might be the height, it might be the look. Okay, so now, I want to show us another picture. Okay, now there's something they call the imposter syndrome that people with low self-esteem have. They say, oh, you did a great job. Look at what this guy said. Anyone can do it. Some will say, oh, you wrote very well. Say, what did I write? Oh, you're wearing a very beautiful dress. The dress that I bought under the bridge. You use your mouth to mess up with compliments. Okay? Aramide says, I have my eyeballs. I have my eyeballs. Oh my goodness. Big eyeballs is an asset. What are you saying? Shemilori said, I have to. Okay. So it's called imposter syndrome. I don't want to overflog this issue of self-esteem. Let me just move on. Okay. There's what we call the healthy self-esteem, low self-esteem. Look at this one. Healthy self-esteem can say no. Low self-esteem has a trouble accepting positive feedback. When people say, you did, you say, It's not, you don't know what you're saying. They believe that others are better than them. But people with a healthy self-esteem will accept strengths and weaknesses. Okay, will be able to express their needs. But people with low self-esteem, they'll be afraid, to talk, to express themselves. Okay, so let me just move on. This is another one. She said, oh, your hair is nice. It's the shampoo. Whereas if you have a positive self-esteem, you'll be able to accept. You say, thank you. There's nothing wrong. Thank you. Praise the Lord. There's nothing wrong. So there are two great days in a person's life. The day we are born and the day we discover why. So let's embark on the journey of self-discovery in this short time that I have. Okay. So I'm sure you've probably asked this question before. Okay, so who am I? And that's what we want to look at. Who am I? So these are 4 key questions that we've probably asked. I asked this question several times when I was on this journey. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Where exactly am I going? So these are very, very important questions. Now, I'm going to take us through what I call 3 quick steps to personal discovery. There's a book I wrote called Personal Discovery for Women. If you'll be interested, you can send us an inbox so that we can let you know how you can get a copy. Okay, it's called Personal Discovery for Women. That is, I believe, will really be impactful for many of us. So the first thing is to know who made you. When you know who made you, it strengthens your sense of self-esteem. Whether or not you are a product of marriage, maybe you're a child of a single parent, your parents never got married, or maybe possibly your mom was even raped and decided not to abort you or whatever. You know what? That does not change the fact that you have a unique purpose. Second thing we look at is who you are. Know who you are. And last but not the least, know what you have. So the first thing, know who made you. I've said this repeatedly. Understand that you are God's idea. You're specially formed, uniquely packaged and delivered. And God created you for a purpose, a reason and a purpose. Just as every product on earth has a manufacturer, you have a creator. Okay, so every manufacturer, before coming up with a product, would normally, have something at the back of his mind, a reason for creating that product. Okay, there's a reason. Whoever came up with the microphone had a purpose at the back of his mind. The microphone is to amplify sound. Whoever came up with the car had a reason, is to move people from one location to another. Whatever it is, there's a reason. There's always a reason behind the mind, on the mind of the creator. And likewise, before God put together the world that called you, he had a reason in mind. Okay, so that settles that. So I came up with just 2 insects. No matter how much we hate them, we despise them, they irritate us. Do you know that insects have a purpose? Part of this is to pollinate flowers. I'm sure those of us in biology, we know what I'm talking about. They assist in breakdown of waste. They serve as predators, okay? And they're also food for birds and maybe some reptiles. And of course, the bee produces honey that we all take. So despite the fact that it's a tiny creature, it has a purpose. Now the rat, we all hate rats. I can't stand rats. When I see a rat, just know that I'm out of that place. But guess what? The rat also has a purpose. Isn't it amazing? God created the rat to clean garbage and to help us eat up waste. And of course, laboratory tests, because it's been said that the metabolic system of the rat is quite similar. I think the mouse in particular is quite similar, identical to humans. So they use them a lot. They use mice a lot in experiments before testing, before using certain products on humans, on people. Can you imagine that a rat that we cannot stand, or a mouse or mice, has a purpose? Now, on the left-hand side is this man called Nick Vujicic. born without arms or legs, but today he has just a tiny toe at the bottom of his torso. Today, Nick is a motivational speaker. He's a preacher that goes all over the world, motivating people, inspiring people. He has businesses. He stays in the US. And guess what? He's married to a very beautiful woman with 4 children. Don't ask me how, but they have 4 children. And of course, on the right-hand side is Helen Keller, a woman that became deaf, dumb, blind, they call them blind mute, from a young age, from 18 months. But she lived on to be in her 80s to, do great things, right? She wrote books, she learned to speak, and she even produced a film. Can you imagine that? So how much more you have a purpose. So the second level, remember I said the first thing is to know who made you. So God created you. God loves you. He created you for a purpose. Second level, know who you are. Now, I've said this before. You are not an accident. You are not a product of circumstances that just happened to drop on earth. You are not a genetic mismatch, but you're a unique being. Your voice, your DNA, fingerprints are just unique to you. I'm sure some online that probably have a medical background, or maybe you study biology or medicine, you understand. Well, thank you. I can see all the comments coming in. I'm sure they will bear with me that DNA carries everything about you. No 2 fingerprints are alike. If you go to the embassy to get a visa, they take your fingerprints. They take another person's finger. Even twins, they have different fingerprints. Your voice is unique to you. There's no one person who is like you on planet Earth, even identical twins. No one else has your peculiar combination on Earth, just like no 2 snowflakes are alike. Is that not amazing? Is that not amazing? So the last level, remember, know who made you, know who you are, and now know, okay, under what, then now know what you have. Know who made you, know who you are, know what you have. What do you have? I came up with this acronym called PAP. I love PAP a lot. It's actually it's actually my favorite African meal. PAP. Oh my goodness, PAP and Ankara. Oh Lord, I'm done. I mean, that's it. Okay, so the first part is P. The first P, your personality. The second one talks about your natural abilities, your gifts, your talents, or it could be your gift, your talents, your natural abilities, and then your passion. So I call it PAP, P-A-P, personality, abilities, and passion. These are part of things that makes you unique. Part of things that make you, these 3 core things are the things that make you unique. Okay. So let's start with personality. Okay, so personality basically is the real you, your emotional makeup. And this explains why you think, reason, react the way you do in circumstances. Personality will talk about your strengths, your weaknesses, and it is what God has placed inside you to contribute to your community, either your family, okay, where you work, when you start working, maybe you're in an organization, maybe you're in school, and then you join, what's it called now? You join maybe an association. Your personality is what you carry in there and contribute into that organization or in that community where you are. And you find it that as you begin to express that personality, people will begin to say, oh, she's so excellent in that thing. Why? Simply because you are expressing who you are. Yes, beauty says it's character. So Oluwalope said characteristics that define you. And I'm trying to see somebody say, favor said what defines you. My likes and dislikes, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your feedback. Okay, so in the world of psychology, there are so many, they've already divided, in fact, they talk about 16 personality types, 32 personality types. On the WhatsApp platform, we're going to share a link to a test you can do. It's a free test, just do it to kind of have an idea of what your personality is as a person. But personally, I just always choose to break them into 4 different categories. 4 different categories for this personality type, 4 different categories, okay? And so we talk about the directors or the dominant personality. These are people that they like to be in charge. They like to control. They like to lead. They are strong-willed. Now, let me say this. Each personality type has its own strengths and weaknesses, okay? And that's why we need God. So what we're saying is that celebrate your strengths, but the weak aspect of your personality, that's what makes us human. The weak aspect of your personality, ask God to help you. Work on those weak aspects and ask God to help you. Are we together? So for those that work in the dominant personality, they're usually very dominant, domineering, like to control. They are very good as leaders. They're always, positive. Oh, we can do it. Let's go. We can do it, Such people, they are like that. I'm going to show you 4 pictures. I will do a test to kind of identify where each one will fall. Then we have and then they are very daring. They are bold. They are the time that want to climb the mountain. They say, let's go and climb Mountain Kilimanjaro. They're not afraid of challenges. Then we have the influencers. I call the dominant the directors. We have the influencers that are like the cheerleaders, very lively people, very joyful people. So very lively people, they jump around, they are the life of a party. If they have not entered a party, the place will be dull. But the moment they show up, everybody is happy. They're very friendly. They make friends with everybody. They go everywhere. They have, the interesting thing, in my house, I have all 4. So I'm also saying this from experience. Especially my first 2 daughters, totally different. One is more of the very gentle, laid-back person. The other one is a very lively one, that wants to go everywhere, that wants to travel the world. Then we have the steady, I call them the caregivers, very gentle, easygoing people. They tend to be a bit laid back. They take things one step at a time. They're not, they don't like to be disturbed. They are just, I use the word equilibrium to describe them. They are very, they can be on one spot. You have to push them to do things. And then we have the consensus. I call them the investigators. Very thorough, very detailed. They are the ones that will see the I that you did not dot on letter. They are the ones that will see that you didn't cross the T. You didn't dot the I. Very, very, focused, detailed people. And sometimes they can be very annoying. Like I said, each personality type has his strengths and his weakness. So I show the picture now, and I want somebody to tell me, who the first 2 that I'm going to show you, out of these 4, which picture describes these people best? So let's look at it. I've described each one. Okay, so the first one. So the lady holding the rope, what kind of personality would that be?
The dominant personality.
Which one is dominant personality?
And the second one is
the first picture, the one with rope.
Okay, that's the dominant personality. Thank you. The one that can climb any mountain. So the lady on the right, who is she? Or the one with the colorful socks? Can you see her dressing?
she's a cheerleader.
The cheerleader. Well done. Thank you so much. You're very right.
Left.
The what?
One with the hunchback. She's a caregiver.
Caregiver.
And then
Okay.
Bag. She's an
investigator. Fantastic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so good. Very true. Thank you so much, Ngozi. She doesn't have a hunchback, but she's just bent over because she's always serving people. So she has a tray. I don't know, maybe that's a cake pan or something that she's carrying. Okay, so thank you, Gold. I can see your comments. Shemilore said the one with the apron is steady. The one drawing is an influencer with the bag. Can you see her with her glasses? always, but like I said, each personality type has its strengths and has its weaknesses. Okay, so it's for you to discover yourself that, okay, because I said the dominant people, they are usually not very gentle. They're not very patient with people. They're not, they're always complaining about other people. They feel that people are slow. Hey, my first son, is more like the dominant. He's going to be one of our speakers. And I remember when they were growing up, he used to have an issue with his sister because the immediate younger sister, that is my first daughter, she's more of an influencer. And she's not serious. She's too playful. But that's her personality type. Okay? That's her personality type. But then, let me go back. So the dominants need to work on that, to be more patient. Then the influencer tend to be very forgetful. They're very forgetful people. They can carry their bag somewhere and leave it there because they tend to be a bit playful. So people like that, I would encourage a job or a career that will help you to express that. My daughter is in the media. She works as a media person. That's the best job for her, a job that carries her around. So what if you're an influencer, that might be something you will look at. So then the steady people, their weakness is that they are usually very laid back. You have to push them to do things. They might be very intelligent, they might be very smart, but sometimes for them to make change, they don't like changes. They can wear the same clothes for years and keep washing it. They can be on the same spot. They can be using the same device for years. They can be doing the same thing for years, but they need to be pushed, okay? And of course, the investigator also, sometimes they are not very patient with people. Yes, I can see some questions there. Let me quickly attend to the question. Ngozi said, how do you know? Very easy. I've explained, look at the qualities you have, the characteristics you have. That should be a pointer. And then also another question, she said, can you have combination? Absolutely. Like I said, we're going to share a link with you later on so that you can take the test sometimes. I mean, in the world of psychology, they say there are as many as 32, 16, or 32 combination. You might have a combination of two, but one will be more dominant. One will be more pronounced than the other. So you understand, you can have a combination of two. You can be steady, and also you can be an investigator. Maybe you are very thorough, okay, but you are steady. I have a daughter that combines the two, steady, but also an investigator. So it's possible. So will share that link with you. Okay, so remember it's PAP. So we've looked at P, which is personality. A, which is abilities, natural abilities. Everybody has gifts. At least one gift you must have. Some is the ability to write, to speak, to act, to draw, to organize things. We will have at least one. So it's for you to also find out. And your gifts, your natural abilities makes you unique. It's part of what makes you different from others. So these are the questions you can ask yourself. What can I do effortlessly that I did not learn? What are my favorite subjects in school? What things can I do naturally that people tell me I'm good at? What can I do without getting tired? There's some things you can do repeatedly and you don't get tired of doing it. There's some subject. For instance, I look at myself, and that's why deliberately when I teach on this, I always like them to read my profile, going through when I was young, because I'm usually getting somewhere. When I was in secondary school, I was very good in writing and speaking. I used to represent my school in debates. We used to go for intercollegiate debates at that time. And then I used to write things, write stories. I would write and write and write. But I was also good in the sciences. And so my parents just concluded that, because she's good in sciences also, she should go for this in the science field. In fact, my father wanted me to be an architect because he's an architect. So I ended up becoming a quantity surveyor, which is a fantastic profession. That's very, very great profession, in particular for women. But I didn't really have a passion for it until much later, in my late 30s, I was able to discover that, what I really love. Because I noticed that in those days, when I was even in university, the courses that used to appeal to me more were the courses that involved reading and writing things. I remember then, construction, what's the course now? Something about economics, yes. Economics, construction management, things like that will involve writing was what always caught my attention. Let me also make you laugh. When I started practicing as a quantity surveyor, and we would have site meetings. We'll go, maybe there's a project going on, and we'll have site meetings with architects there, engineers there, quantity surveyors there. I will go there to represent my firm. And then when it's time to write minutes, guess what? I'm also there as a consultant. So I will volunteer to write the minutes of the meeting. And then after writing the minute, I'll write like 7 pages. Say, I was Miss Fasoro. They say, Miss Fasoro, 1 hour meeting or 2 hours meeting, you've written 7 pages. I didn't know that passion was crying out for expression. And so later on, I had to pursue my passion. And that's what I do today as a trainer and a writer to the glory of God. Somebody is laughing, 7 pages. Yes, so my dear sister. Okay, so your natural ability. Now, some of you might ask that I'm already in school. Maybe daddy or mommy asked you to pursue a career which you don't really love. I tell young people, please don't drop out. Finish up that career. And as you progress in life, you can begin to gravitate towards what you have a passion for. I don't regret studying quantity surveying because quantity surveying has helped me to be more analytical in what I do. So the way I reason, the way I do things, okay, it has helped me. So even if you started as an engineer or you're in engineering school, but your passion is in the media, don't worry. That engineering will still help you. That engineering mindset will still help you when you pursue that passion. So I would say, please finish up, carry on, and then you can be, expressing yourself, looking for ways to volunteer, maybe in school or wherever, so that you can express that passion inside you. Now, the last thing is your passion. This talks of your deepest longings, your hopes, your ambitions, your dreams, your affections. There's some of you, you had some dreams when you were young, much younger. There's some things you used to think about. I remember I would just stand in front of the mirror. I will hold a stick like a microphone and I'll be talking. I will record, you'll be recording it in a cassette. We used to use cassette players then. We didn't have all the devices you have now. And I'll just be speaking, listening to myself, not knowing that that was part of my destiny to speak and to talk. So right now, there will be some things, I have a daughter who, she's the kind of engineering she's doing, that she studied, very unique. And she now tells that, Mommy, when in those days, I'll go to the school library, I'll be reading about this, about space, about those things. That was passion crying out. So there's a reason why you have those things inside you. The hopes, the dreams, the passion is part of what makes you reason. Somebody said finish up. Yes, so finish up. So questions to ask yourself: what are my desires? What do I love to talk about? What arouses my interest? What is the burden of my heart? What is that thing that I see that burdens me? Okay, that makes me cry. Okay, what are my thoughts? What are my visions? What are my dreams? What are those things I can't get out of my head? And you are so lucky now at this age. We're talking about projecting to the age of 30. Maybe you have another 10 years to go. You can begin to position yourself. Somebody's going to talk about positioning yourself. You can begin to, align your life in line with the passions of your heart. You can begin to read about those things. You can begin to draw yourself, put yourself in such situations. Maybe you are here, you have a passion one day to become a neurosurgeon or whatever it is, a doctor in a particular field, an engineer in a particular field, and you are just here. ASU is on strike. Why don't you go and look for a way to volunteer in an engineering firm or in a hospital, so that you are closer to that passion? And then those things you see daily will fire the passion inside you. Okay, so let me begin to round up. Okay, Walt Disney, of course, we know Disney films, Walt Disney and all the great films, artists, his story. Maybe I will share the link. The film about his life is quite inspirational. I'll see if it's on YouTube so you can get to watch it. How he also started by scribbling and drawing in class. He'll be drawing, always drawing, not knowing that that was his destiny. Today, he died many years ago, but he has left a legacy. Although Disney is becoming funny now because of some agendas that they are now pursuing. Of course, we know our own Chimamanda Adichie, who from writing books has become a world-class author. Okay, my final word. Miles Morrow said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Abuse is inevitable. So thank you very much for listening.